My friend, Eyes of the World. Love this tune. E major 7. Now the way I'm playing this one is just like I would play an A major, play with different fingering, and then scoot it all the way up till it hits that E mark. So for me, I know it's at the 7th fret. So A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, or E, E flat, and then E. Since I've got my root note of E, my low E, my 7th fret note of E, I've got my 5th, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, E, B, another E, E, B, E. This has to be my G sharp. So it's my major third, my median. So if I flatten that to a G natural, I get a E minor. And I don't want that. I want my E major. But what I want to do is take that alternate E note, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, and flatten that E to a D sharp or an E flat. What it does is when we play this and then we turn this flattened chord of these 3 notes into a little backwards triangle, the same one that you would normally see as being your D7 or your B7, dare I say your A major 7. When we take this A major 7 and we play it in a secondary fingering, we quite literally can move this whole construct all the way up to the 7th fret, and it gives us our E major 7. That E major 7 is valid to see where that is on the whole guitar, whether it's down low, utilizing second or first inversions, playing it up top, and then seeing where those notes are everywhere on this fretboard. For this song, you're going to be using E major 7. You're going to be using B minor, which is right below it, or you can play its inversion down here at the 2nd fret. I like to play B minor sometimes like this, which is an A, wrap my finger around like I do for the B, and just, I think it works really well. So, E major 7, right outside, goes to an A major 7. You can play an A major, but that A major 7 is the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you play an A root, have that 3rd in there and keep these 2, the 7th and the root, or the 3rd, you get a very nice chord. E major 7, A major 7 back to E. We're going to have a B minor to an A major. Now those are both that B minor 7 and to an A major 7. We could do right outside. The rhythm, by the way, is we slow it down, we have quarter, 8th note, quarter, rest, down, 8th note, 8th note, 8th note. And it feels like this when we keep our hand constant. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fun. Notice we have to be swinging our hand in 4/4 to represent 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. But subdivision of that leads us to that rhythm. We're going to lead us all the way up into the chorus, which has an A minor, G with a B in the bass, or you can play an A minor with a B in the bass, and then a C major will start it off. Wake up to find out you are the eyes of the world. The G. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. Just jumping that out to get a little sussy note. Right outside this lazy summer home, you ain't got time to make your soul critic known. Now after this B minor to A, we're gonna go all the way to C sharp minor. All right? Hold that A. And C sharp minor to B major back to A. Goes up to the C sharp minor again. It's the only time in the whole song that it's going to do that repetition again. Instead of going back to the A that second time, we go up to a D. Then to an A, all the way back to that E major 7. And then we're going to wrap it back up to the A. To the E major 7. Now you can play that E major 7 by just flattening this note to this note. Beautiful, huh? We have a, what is that? A E, B, and a G sharp. So if we flatten this E to a D sharp, we have these 2 down in this one. Niceness. So, minor, A major. It's an A major. A major with a B up to a C. G major, C major, yeah, back to G. G major, C, back to G. This one's fun. We're gonna do a walk up here. It's gonna go from the C, C sharp, D, back to C, to G, C, G, C, all the way up to D. Now rather than going up to D that time, I like to just slide this up a whole step. It makes a version of D here. The actual chord is based off of in the what is it, like an F13, F11, or something, F sus. Actually, there's like 13 different names for this kind of chord. So what we do is we move inside and out of this E major 7, B minor 7 to the A major 7. I'm just holding down the 3rd and the 7th here, but you can play the whole thing and flatten the 2 right here and leave in your 5th. Works just the same. I'm just not a big fan of full bar chords because it leaves a lot out. That is the whole song. The only thing that always gets me that I want to point out here in this video before it gets too long is this is the progression of the song. It's a vamp on the E major 7 with a little sussy in the beginning. From the versions I've heard, my favorite ones, there's either a guitar solo, piano solo, or a sax solo, my favorite of which being Nassau probably. And then this A major 7 starts it. We feel a direct cut here. This is the second half of the first verse. Hold that A. This is the only time it's going to do this double repeat. To the D, to the A, to the E. Back to the A. And A major, correction here. Wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world. And since seasons and most of it's over. Here's the fun. Wake now, discover that you are the song that the morning brings. Heart has a season, its evening and thoughts of its own. B minor, A major. Back into the E, right? So after the first verse, it just does between the E major 7 and the B minor. There comes a redeemer and he too slowly fades away. Hearts are loaded with clay, and the scene that was silent all burst into bloom and decay. It goes back to E. Night comes so quiet that it plays on the keys of them days. A, C, G, C, G. Alternate. Work some bass notes in there if you want. Remember, if you do the bass notes, you can do them with its relative minor. G, C, G, back to C, G, C, D, B minor, A major. So after the second verse, it does that same vamp with the E major 7 to the B minor, but the B minor splits itself with an A major. E major 7, B minor, A major, or A major 7. I like the A major because it doesn't really distinguish between the major minor and have that open airiness. The guitar player, or pianist, or whomever is soloing over the top has the right then to choose. If this goes on a little too long, then you can start altering those chords like the E major, or start altering the rhythm like I am now, and give it a big finish. Sometimes we live no particular way but our own. So the last verse does the whole thing, goes through every single movement. Remember, the last verse, just like the second verse, doesn't have that extra part where you go to the C sharp minor. Only the ones. Here it comes. Sometimes we ride your horses, sometimes we walk alone. Sometimes we know the songs that we sing on our own. Wake up to find out that you are the eye. So you go through the whole chorus, right? It is a B minor, A major. Now, it just vamps on that same E major 7. You end the song the same way that you began the song. I think in most recordings they don't go on too long with that. Other than that, that's the whole song. Very fun, very tricky. When you're soloing inside of this as any instrument, over the E major 7, you're going to want to use a Ionian mode. You can kind of put a Lydian in there if the whole band goes to it, but it doesn't work well. And for God's sake, stay away from Mixolydian with that flat 7th. You do not want a D natural note over the top of this thing. When you go to the B minor, absolutely, you could have that D in there all day long, just not in the E major 7. You could also have it in the A if you wanted. You could have it in the C as a sus note. There are plenty of ways to analyze these after you see what your triads are of these major and minor chords. However, the way I teach is if you gotta play as long as you can and as fun as you can. Try your different movements of different notes and different scales. And if it doesn't work, don't do it. Keep the ones that do and have fun practicing the practice of practicing. Aloha.